For centuries, Black people have been subjected to a barrage of harmful stereotypes that have shaped the way they are perceived and treated by others. These stereotypes have been reinforced by popular culture, the media, and historical events, and have led to numerous misconceptions about Black people. The modern-day misconceptions include the idea that all Black people are poor, uneducated, and criminals, even though these stereotypes are not representative of the entire Black community. These misconceptions have led to a lack of understanding and empathy for Black people and have contributed to a variety of societal issues. So join us as we explore how history and stereotypes impact Black lives throughout the centuries. In this video, we'll delve into the historical roots of these stereotypes and how they have manifested themselves in the world today. We'll also look at the effects of these stereotypes on Black people and how we can work together to dispel these misleading narratives and promote a more positive and accurate understanding of Black lives and the entire Black community. The harmful stereotypes that continue to plague Black lives have their roots in early colonial era of the 15th century. During this time, Black people were forcefully brought to the New World as slaves and treated as objects to be bought and sold. They were dehumanized, forced to work under inhumane conditions, and were often used as symbols of wealth and status by their owners. To further subjugate Black people and justify the cruelty of slavery, their white masters began to spread false and harmful stereotypes about them. They portrayed Black people as being intellectually inferior and lacking in self-control and moral character. They were depicted as being lazy, violent, and sexually deviant, and were frequently portrayed as animalistic or subhuman. These false and damaging narratives served to perpetuate the idea that Black people were less than human and to justify the terrible treatment they were subjected to during slavery. These stereotypes were further amplified through the media with hateful content like the minstrel shows, which presented deeply racist caricatures of Black people. These shows were popular from the mid-19th to the early 20th century, depicted Black people as lazy, stupid, and immoral. And to top it all, these acts were performed by white actors who painted their face with shoe polish to appear black, a caricature known as blackface, and also exaggerated their lips to portray an ugly appearance of Black people. These actors would also frequently wear ill-fitting clothing or attire supposedly worn by Black people and used exaggerated and offensive accents and gestures to further dehumanize and humiliate Black people. Minstrel shows such as Mammy, Uncle Tom, Sapphire, Watermelon, and Mandingo were used to spread the stereotypes created by their white supremacists. These minstrel shows not only serve to reinforce and amplify stereotypes about Black people, but also help to cement them in the collective consciousness as truth. Over the years, these stereotypes have been entrenched in some people's collective consciousness and have been passed down from one generation to the next. It's sad and sobering reality that even today, some people still hold on to these harmful notions about Black people. One of the most harmful and persistent stereotypes about Black people in today's world is the false notion that they are hypersexual and aggressive. This stereotype is deeply problematic as it perpetuates the idea that Black people are sexually promiscuous and dangerous. It is a stereotype that is both dehumanizing and harmful, and one that has been used to justify sexual violence against Black people. This stereotype also ignores the reality of sexual violence against Black people, which is a serious and ongoing problem. Black men, being the victims of these harmful stereotypes, have suffered devastating consequences, not only in how they are perceived, but also in how they are treated. The stereotype casts a shadow over their identities, reducing them to sexual beings devoid of emotional depth and complexity. Black men frequently face the perception of being aggressive and untamed due to their prominent masculine characteristics, leading them to being referred to by the derogatory term, Mandingo, a nickname that originated from a widely known minstrel show that amplified the hypersexualization and hypersensitivity of Black men. The aftermath of this narrative is so damaging that many black men who are accused of rape are frequently presumed guilty even before any evidence is presented, and the accusation alone can lead to public outcry and even violence. This stereotype has led to the lynching of black men who were accused of rape in the past, even when there was no proof of their guilt. Black women don't have it easy either. In terms of hypersexual stereotypes, they're the most vulnerable. A lot of emphasis is placed on their sexuality and their perceived moral character. Black women have been depicted as hypersexual and promiscuous, with the most offensive and pervasive depictions being of black women as sex workers or erotic sexual objects. These stereotypes ignore the reality of many black women's lives, which often involve working multiple jobs to support their families. They are stereotypes that have contributed to portraying black women as immoral and sexual objects, wrongly deeming them unsuitable to fulfill roles as wives and mothers. Unfortunately, these distorted perceptions have been historically exploited to rationalize sexual exploitation and violence against black women, perpetuating discrimination and disrespect towards them. In truth, these harmful stereotypes are far from accurate representations of the strength, dignity, and value that black women bring to society. Take, for example, the legendary female tennis players Serena Williams and her sister Venus. They have faced an onslaught of racist remarks and stereotypes throughout their professional careers. These comments often focus on their appearances, using derogatory and degrading language to describe both their physique and skin tone. However, these stereotypes haven't hindered them in the least. They've consistently defied the naysayers to leave an indelible mark as some of the most remarkable black female tennis players in American history. Similarly, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has endured relentless barrage of racial stereotypes and discrimination from the media and the royal family, particularly following her marriage to Prince Harry. The media's treatment of her has ranged from questioning her race and blackness to scrutinizing her background and appearance, which often portrays her in a negative manner. Another harmful stereotype of black women is that they are angry, sassy, and aggressive. This stereotype is used to shut down black women when they speak up for themselves or advocate for their rights. It is often used to delegitimize black women's anger, whether it's justified or not. This stereotype is deeply problematic, as it prevents black women from being taken seriously when they raise concerns or try to make their voices heard. Even highly accomplished and well-respected black women, like the former First Lady Michelle Obama, have been subjected to this misleading stereotype, including systemic racism. When discussing the impact of stereotypes on black lives, it's highly impossible to ignore the stereotype of the dangerous black man. This has been used to justify police brutality and other violence against black people. It has been used to portray black men as inherently criminals and has led to black men being disproportionately targeted by the police and subjected to excessive force. Within the criminal justice system, these stereotypes have contributed to the racial profiling and harsher sentencing for black individuals. The perception of black people as aggressive and dangerous has often resulted in their unjust treatment, leading to a cycle of incarceration, brutal killings of many innocent black people. Most notable incidents of police brutality includes the death of George Floyd in 2020. Floyd was arrested by Minneapolis police officers after responding to a call about a possible forgery. Mr. Floyd was handcuffed and pinned to the ground by an officer who pressed his knee into Mr. Floyd's neck for several minutes. Despite Mr. Floyd's repeated pleas for help, the officer did not remove his knee, and Mr. Floyd eventually lost consciousness and died. George Floyd's death sparked massive protests both in the United States and globally, centered around the theme Black Lives Matter. Before this incident, popular cases like that of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and Breonna Taylor had equally sparked widespread protests and raised awareness about systemic racism and police brutality against black individuals. These demonstrations garnered significant attention, shedding light on racial justice, police brutality, and racism in the USA. As a result, public perceptions on these matters underwent substantial shifts, with more people recognizing the need for racial justice and equality. So, for us to create a world of equality and justice, the persistence of stereotypes affecting Black lives must be eliminated, and this can be done by educating ourselves and the younger generation about the history and context of these stereotypes. When we explore the origins of these stereotypes and understand the adverse effects they have on Black lives and the broader community, we'll recognize the importance of acknowledging our own biases and unconscious assumptions and actively work towards addressing them. We must also work to amplify the voices and experiences of Black people and to highlight the diversity of the Black experience. This can be easily done by fostering a positive representation of Black lives in the media. We must also continue to advocate for policies and practices that promote equality and justice for all people, regardless of race. The process of dispelling and eradicating stereotypes affecting Black lives is an ongoing struggle that will take time and commitment. However, by taking consistent and meaningful steps, we can make progress towards a society that is truly just and equitable for all. This will require effort from individuals, community, and society as a whole, but the rewards will be well worth it. Now tell us, what other steps do you think we can take to make progress regarding these stereotypes? Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we post more interesting and thought-provoking videos like this.